I'm meteorologist Paul Doreen here on Wednesday morning, November 17th. Quite an active weather pattern for the next couple of weeks. Interesting as well. We start off here on Wednesday with a warm-up that begins this afternoon in the mid-Atlantic region, the northeastern part of the nation, and intensifies on Thursday and peaks on Thursday afternoon. In fact, temperatures in D.C. tomorrow afternoon should reach the 70-degree mark, and not too far from 70 in Philadelphia and 65 degrees in New York City. That will be the end of the warm-up as a strong cold front comes through by Friday morning. Another colder than normal air mass moves in on Friday. Friday will turn out to be quite similar to the day on Monday when it was windy and cold. So we end the work week with windy and cold conditions. It remains cold on Saturday in the mid-Atlantic region of the northeast U.S. And then another strong cold front looks like it'll approach by the time we get to Sunday night and Monday of next week. That frontal system will usher in a very cold air mass for this time of the year. And by the time we get to Tuesday, it could be very windy and cold, maybe with some snow showers in the mid-Atlantic region. The overall weather pattern is quite volatile, let's say, for next week. We have a couple of threats we have to watch. First, early in the week in that Monday, Tuesday time frame, and then late in the week, weekend, let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame after Thanksgiving Day, some potential for some mischief in the northeastern part of the nation that could include some snowfall. Let's first talk about a couple of these teleconnection indices that I focus in on, especially during the winter season, the North Atlantic Oscillation and its closely related cousin known as the Arctic Oscillation. These give us an idea of the temperature and pressure pattern up across the North Atlantic, the Arctic region, and oftentimes they can give us clues as to what weather could come in the near term into the central and eastern U.S., specifically whether or not cold air outbreaks can make it all the way from Canada into the northeastern part of the nation. Indeed, both of these indices look like they're about to drop sharply into negative territory. The black represents the observed value, slightly positive right now, but look at this. It takes a downward trend over the next several days. Right here, this is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and we'll see in a moment Arctic Oscillation is doing the same thing. And indeed, here is the Arctic Oscillation forecast in red over the next several days. Goes from slightly positive down into negative territory over the next few days here, the next week or so. And when these two drop into negative territory, at least for a sustained period of time, that often is correlated with high latitude blocking, higher pressure than normal over places like Greenland and northeastern Canada, and that in turn leads to a higher chance of cold and snow in the northeastern part of the nation. So this is something that is a signal here that we may have some interesting weather as we go through the next couple of weeks in the northeastern part of the nation. Well, in fact, let's take a look at a potential for a blocking situation setting up later next week. All models tend to agree with the notion that significant blocking will start to develop later next week, and that's why there is potential in this pattern for cold and snow in the northeastern part of the nation over the next couple of weeks. Not sure when it would happen, but again, there may be a threat early next week, Monday, Tuesday, and then another threat Friday, Saturday time frame after Thanksgiving Day. But the overall pattern is certainly evolving into one that will include blocking. Let's now take a look here. This is the ensemble run of the GFS from 0Z last night, starting off with ridging here shown in orange, higher heights than normal, and this is associated with this two-day warm-up that begins this afternoon and really intensifies on Thursday. Again, 70 plus degrees on the table for DC tomorrow, not far from 70 in Philadelphia, probably 65 in New York City. But let's move forward here and keep an eye. This is Greenland right here, northeastern part of Canada, right in this region. And this is where blocking will set up later next week. Let's just keep moving forward here rather quickly. Here we go now by tomorrow afternoon. That ridge starting to get kind of squeezed off the East Coast. And here comes the next incoming cold air mass. Again, a cold frontal passage Thursday night will bring some showers, not a heavy rain event, to the I-95 corridor region. And then by the time we get into Friday morning, right here, Friday morning, the next cold air mass, we go from near 70 tomorrow afternoon in some parts of the mid-Atlantic region, most likely to the 40s on Friday with a lot of northwest wind as well. Stays cold on Saturday, but not as windy as it will be on Friday. And then kind of a decent day temperature-wise on Sunday, probably back to the low to mid-50s in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, mostly cloudy conditions. And looking upstream here, watch what's happening here as we get to Sunday. Notice some deep oranges and reds starting to show up here near Greenland. Again, that's where to look for a blocking pattern that will set up next week. And that usually is correlated with an increased chance of cold air outbreaks making it into the central and eastern U.S. An increased chance during the winter season for some snow in that part of the nation as well. Now here we go. Now all the way into Monday of next week. First of all, we have this deep trough kind of intensifying here. And this is has some potential for some mischief here in the Monday-Tuesday time frame. We have an upper-level trough that is kind of diving to the south and east, and exactly how far it digs into the south and east will dictate if there's any chance of some decent snow in the mid-Atlantic region during the early part of next week. Monday-Tuesday time frame. Here we go now. Look at this continuing to dive to the south and east. By the time we get to Tuesday morning here, we have a deep upper-level low situated right along the mid-Atlantic coastline. At a minimum, I expect to see strong winds out of the northwest on Tuesday. Very cold air for this time of the year in the mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. Possibility of some snow shower activity and maybe a decent storm that could throw some snow up across New England on Monday night, Tuesday time frame. This is certainly a time period to watch. It is not set in stone yet. Definitely a cold air mass coming in. There'll be a lot of wind associated with it, especially on the day of Tuesday of next week. Now look at the north here. Blocking starting to set up, and again that's being signaled to us by the North Atlantic Oscillation, the Arctic Oscillation, both of which drop into negative territory. That's usually correlated with high latitude blocking. Also of interest, kind of an undercutting trough out here associated with a ridge out across the eastern part of the Pacific. Now here we are Tuesday morning, and watch what happens as we go farther into next week. Here we are now Wednesday, and then all the way into Thanksgiving Day. Notice blocking remains. Usually blocking by very definition is kind of a slow moving setup here, maybe even a stationary setup of higher pressure than normal over Greenland. And this is of interest here as well. By next Thursday we have this ridge shifted to the east a little bit, and kind of a pumping up of the ridge right here in western Canada. Talked about this yesterday's video, that allows for cold air to be transported from way up in Canada all the way down into the northern plains. Typically it'll move into the plains and then kind of spread out to the east across the Great Lakes into the northeastern part of the nation. Then by the time we get to later next week, we have the combination here of blocking remaining to the north over Greenland, upper level low setting up over the eastern U.S., and this ridge out across the western states. This is again a week from Friday, the day after Thanksgiving Day. This is definitely an interesting weather pattern, something we'll have to keep our eye on, not only for its potential Monday, Tuesday time frame, but also maybe Friday, Saturday time frame of later next week following Thanksgiving. Well, let's now shift to the operational run of the GFS from 0Z, looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies. First of all, starting off the day today on Wednesday, milder air moving in the backside of surface high pressure. We have a south to southwest flow of air developing by this afternoon, and probably some 10 degrees or so warmer this afternoon compared to yesterday afternoon. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. It gets even warmer on Thursday. Here we go. Moving ahead into Thursday afternoon. Watch out for 70 degrees in D.C., maybe close to 70 in Philly, and 65 at least New York City tomorrow afternoon. Then some showers tomorrow night, not a heavy rain event as the next cold shot comes. Here we go by Friday morning. Friday, windy, cold day in the Mid-Atlantic region. Probably temperatures in the afternoon will be confined to the 40s in most spots along the I-95 corridor region in the Mid-Atlantic region. Considerably colder than what we expect to see tomorrow afternoon. Still remains chilly on Saturday. This is Saturday morning. Still chilly, not as windy as Friday. And then kind of a milder day on Sunday, probably mostly cloudy, maybe the lower 50s. But look at upstream. By the time we get to Sunday afternoon, this is a very cold air mass. It has that deep upper level trough that will be kind of shifting south and east across the Great Lakes into the Tennessee Valley and ultimately off to the Mid-Atlantic coastline here by the time we get to Tuesday morning. Here we go. By Tuesday morning, expect to see a very windy and cold day in the Mid-Atlantic region, the Tennessee Valley, maybe even some snow shower activity, and perhaps even a more important snowfall up across New England, interior sections of the northeastern part of the nation. This is a volatile time period, something we still have to watch Monday, Tuesday of next week, and no doubt it will become associated with a very cold air mass for this time of the year and a lot of north to northwest wind, certainly by the time we get to Monday night and Tuesday of next week. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from the 0Z GFS model run. Pretty nice day today. Again, southwest flow of air over the Ohio Valley shifts into the eastern states on the backside of this high, hence a warm-up. We get milder today, and that warm-up peaks on Thursday afternoon. Here we are Thursday afternoon, the next cold front approaching with some shower activity headed towards the I-95 corridor region for the end of the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. Not a heavy rain event, and here comes that next cold shot by the time we get into Friday. A lot of wind, a lot of cold conditions, certainly noticeably colder on Friday compared to Thursday, because tomorrow will be a very mild day in the Mid-Atlantic region. Then we start looking upstream for that next cold shot. And here we go. I'm moving quickly through the upcoming weekend. By the time we get to Sunday night, we'll start to see strong high pressure over south central Canada, strong low pressure over the Great Lakes, and look at this fetch of air right out of the north. Remember earlier we said with that ridge popping up across the western states, combined with the block over Greenland, that allows for cold air masses to be transported from way up in Canada all the way down into the northern plains. And here we go. And then usually they'll spread to the east across the Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic region. And indeed, that's what will happen. It's Monday morning. A very powerful cold front comes through on Monday. And a storm will form somewhere in the northeastern part of the nation. This is now the Tuesday morning forecast map. Could be some decent snowfall up across the northeastern part of the nation with a strong low pressure area near the New England coastline and strong winds out of the north to northwest on Tuesday. This is the Tuesday morning forecast map. Expect to see maybe some lake effect snow shower activity here. In fact, the GFS model is starting to show that here. It's like a kind of a wild day on Tuesday with a lot of wind and cold temperatures in the Mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S., and a strong storm up over northern New England. Again, with that digging trough, if it shifts a little farther to the south and east, this surface low can be a little bit farther to the south as well. Something we still have to watch out for at a minimum. Expect very cold temperatures, very strong winds, and some scattered snow shower activity Monday night and Tuesday in the Mid-Atlantic region. Certainly accumulating snow possible across the interior higher elevation sections of the northeastern part of the country during the early part of next week. Then we'll kind of move forward here quickly, going into the middle of next week, and then Thanksgiving Day. Not much showing up here on the map, but by the time we get into Friday, this is a possibility here. We have that strong block to the north here, and there's some signs, this is speculation phase right now, but some signs of storm system developing in the eastern states, let's say next Friday, Saturday time frame, and could still be cold enough for some snow. Again, a kind of volatile weather pattern setting up with some potential Monday, Tuesday of next week, and then maybe more potential for cold and snow later next week, Friday, Saturday time frame. I'm talking about in the mid-Atlantic, in the northeast U.S. So a lot going on over the next couple of weeks. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.